Hey guys, welcome to our first episode of The Curious Linguist.
We lean in close, turn it up, here we go. Welcome in to The Curious Linguist. Pack your ears, we're flying with English. Parlez-vous, just a little français. New worlds open, each word that we say. The Curious Linguist, we listen, we learn, we live it. Bonjour, merci, ça va. Repeat, culture in every linguist. We laugh, we ask, we visit. Bonjour, merci, ça va. C'est qui? Stories in every language we meet. From bonjour to good night. The Curious Linguist. Every word. A new light.
Hi, coucou, ça va?
Ça va et toi?
Oui, ça va. Ça va bien.
Okay, well, hi, my name is Anaëlle, I'm 19, and I live in France for a while because I was born there.
You're a native French speaker.
Yeah, basically, I hope. And yeah, I met Clara because she studied abroad in Po, so my town, and we stayed friends, and I hope I can visit her soon.
Yeah, come to the good you all savez. So also I think what's interesting to mention about you as well as you're a native French speaker, you're also a musician. So that's also kind of an interesting aspect, as a lot of my research that I've done surrounding this topic has to do with lyrics from West African music. Yeah. So, and songs that you know, because Capo's song Si Tu vois ma go, and then Magic System's Premier Gaou, which the first one is If You See My Girlfriend, and the second song being First Fool, to translate to the English.
Wow.
Yeah. So a couple things that I thought we should discuss today. In these songs, there's a lot of utilization of like West African slang in the French language, and it's used as a form of resistance because they're doing a process called code switching, which is like they're mixing the French and the English together in their sentences, and also West African slang as well. So like using multiple languages and like putting them together is what code switching is, apparently. So with your experience, because you're a native French speaker and I'm not, what slang do you see like your generation and just like people in France using from like African influence, like West African influence?
Well, you just said it, like go, we use go a lot.
Yeah.
Like, I'd say the generation before me and the generation after me, like, those three generations, we use it. Maybe not the old people. I mean, old is mean, but the older people won't use it. But go, wesh is like one of the best example because we use it every single day, for every reason. It's by the way, it's in the dictionary now.
Yes, I saw that. Yeah, I saw it in Le Robert. Yeah.
Wait.
Yeah. I think. Did l'Académie Française adopt it or no? They haven't adopted it yet, I don't think. They don't adopt anything, though.
I mean, I know it was controversial because the extreme right, so you're Republican?
Yeah, like what's the party? The National Rally Party, right? The National Rally Party?
Oh.
Like the party of Marine Le Pen, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were really mad about that. They were like, they think it's that French is en péril, which means in danger. Because of it's really bad.
Like losing French identity.
Yeah, they're to them like the fact that a lot of young people use African words or mostly Arabic words. In their daily life, it's bad because it means that it's not French anymore. But a language is supposed to change.
Yeah.
That's why, like, all the dictionary thought that it was good to adopt wish in our language because, like, it's...
You use it all the time.
Read like this.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, because it's like, wesh is a great example, which for our audience, it means, like, yo. And how I always explain it to American speakers is like, if you see your friend, like if I saw Anaëlle, like if you like it's kind of like what's up. It's like wesh, and we'd kind of dap up or whatever. Or like if we're watching a film and somebody's like, oh, she looks like crap today, the person would be like, oh, bah wesh. Like
Wish is like even it's a word, but sometimes an onomatopoeia. How do you say that?
Onomatopoeia?
Yeah. Oh my god, this is a little.
A word that describes a sound.
Yeah. Because sometimes people will be shocked and be like, "Oh, wish," and there's no meaning behind it. It's just like they're surprised.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That makes sense.
Multiple use. You can use it in so many ways.
Yeah.
So it's like.
So I have a question for you. Do you think that like slang? Because I analyzed this in my research, and I kind of said that I felt like slang was a assertion of identity, not just like in the resistance of like these West African speakers from like the legacy of colonialism, because like obviously, you know, when the French colonized West Africa and other parts of Africa, you know, they imposed the language. Like there was a lot of like violence and terrible things, but they also imposed the language. And while these countries gained independence, now they are, yes, they were liberated, but it's like the language became so innately a part of their culture that like it's still imposed, and they rely on a lot of French media and other things. My kind of just like by saying that, I think my question is like, as using this slang in French music as kind of like an assertion of identity for them, do you think the way that your generation uses slang, or like your parents' generation uses slang, like is that a form of like identity and like representation of like you guys? That makes sense.
So it's really hard because I'd say those slang, like this kind of slang, it's more my generation.
Okay, yeah.
Like my little sister, for example, will also use this, and my grand cousin too. Even though we have like 7 years gap,
yeah,
it's like we will use the same language.
Right. Yeah.
But it's a fight of, to me, using it's a social thing. Like my generation is the generation of acceptation. We're trying to fight racism in France.
Yeah.
For like years and years and years, and like I told you, the party of Marine Le Pen, which is
with le Rassemblement National, right? The National Rally Party. Yeah.
Is like our elections are coming soon.
Yes. Yeah. In 27, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's like it's also a way to, you know, to protect people that those people are French. Those people who use it, most of the time they were born French, or their family came and then, you know, they're here since they're 3 years old, so they're basically French. They're just like using their roots, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And they talk the way, I don't know how to say that. It's slang.
Like yeah, and their native, like they add their native language to to the French language. Yeah. No, go ahead.
I don't know if you remember for the JO, les Olympic Games.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Do you remember who opened the Olympics game?
No, I don't remember.
Well, we have a lot of French artists that are really famous. For example, like David Guetta is one of, you know, the most famous.
Yeah.
He's a DJ.
David, yeah.
Yeah, this man was not choose to play at the Jeux Olympiques.
Oh.
It's Aya Nakamura, which is...
Yeah.
I think she's Congolese.
Yeah, I know Aya Nakamura. Yeah, because I don't know if I'm going to pronounce it right, but the song Daija.
Oh, Jaja.
Daija? Yeah. So...
Oh, Jaja.
Yeah. It's funny, she actually originally was one of my primary sources, and I had to change it just because she is from Mali, but she grew up in France, and hexagonal French slang was not like my area of study for this project. So I changed it, but I do know her. So that's interesting. Okay, yeah. So they chose her, Aya Nakamura, over David Guetta.
So yeah, they choose her because they wanted a woman to open the Jeux Olympiques.
Yeah, the Olympic Games. Okay.
Yeah, Olympic Games. And she is also one of the most, like, she's really, really famous. And in Europe, she's the most listened French artist.
Oh, really?
And yeah, she was really criticized when people knew she was opening the Olympic Games, because they were like, but sometimes she do not even speak French.
Right.
Because she has a vocab that sometimes she mixing words together.
Yes.
And it's like she's creating her own thing.
Yeah.
And it was a big thing when that happened.
Interesting.
It was really controversial, but they still chose her.
Yeah.
And this is a way, like, to... France is not just, like, the old French people that think French can, like, the language, French language can change.
Yeah.
But it's also, like, there's a lot of immigration in France, and those people are also French, and we want to fight to keep those right for the next election, to be really honest.
Yeah. No,
yeah.
That's really interesting, like, kind of like the controversy surrounding, like, keeping the language pure, which is the job of the l'Académie Française, the French Academy. And I know, like, I don't, like, conversations that we've had in the past, I know that people kind of go against. They're like, no, we don't want to listen to the l'Académie Française. I read something recently where it was like, you know, the l'Académie Française makes words up, like, in replacement of, like, English words. So, like, instead of saying, like, on hot dog, you're going to say, like, I forget what the word is, but it's something else. And yeah. Well, and that's what the article said, is it's, like, French, you know, native speakers, like, they are, like, this is dumb. So we're just going to say the English version. And I was like, this is so true, because I know, like, Anaëlle, like, you, and then, like, your friends, like, Camille and other people, like, they use the English, like the on the dog or whatever. Or, what's another... Oh, I was trying to think of another word that I hear you guys use that's, like, similar. I can't think of it now, but, yeah. So I think it's interesting, like, us talking about the fact that, like, there's controversy surrounding, like, artists like Ayani Mara using other languages, like, within her, like, speech, but also her music, because she uses Spanish too, which is really interesting. In the beginning of Daija, she says, like, hola papi, ¿qué pasa? Or something like that.
Yeah. It's a mix. Like, it's just a mix of a lot of nationalities.
Yeah.
And this is beautiful. It's like a new culture that grows up.
Yeah. I think to kind of, like, finish things off, kind of a two-part question. What do you, like, I think I kind of asked this already, but as a form of, like, we talked about identity and how, like, slang, kind of identifies for other people a certain generation, or, like, a certain generation will identify with, like, slang. So, like, you think of Wesh and you're like, oh, yes, like, that's a part of, like, my generation, right? I think of words like lit or fire, and I'm like, that's a part of my generation. But do you think that sometimes, like, it's a form of resistance, like, just in general? Like, I mean, we were talking about it, like, there's controversy and stuff, and I don't know.
Well, okay, I'm going to give you an example of someone I really think is really important those days.
Yeah.
In 2025, there's this artist.
Yeah.
Her name is Theodora.
Okay.
She exploded. Like,
Theodora. Okay.
Like, it was a whole thing.
Yeah.
It was, like, every French people were thinking, and she haven't, okay.
Yeah.
I have so many things to say. She sang that song in, like, the beginning, like, January 2025.
Like, the song that became popular?
What?
The song that became popular?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
She just sung it like this for fun. She became extra popular.
Mm-hmm.
And she's from Congo.
Oh, Congo. Yeah. Yeah, Congo. Yeah, the Congo.
Yeah.
Okay.
She moved to La Réunion, which is another French island.
Yeah.
And she came back to Paris. And she is so controversial. She's a symbol of Gen Z, basically.
Yeah, okay.
She only wears secondhand clothes. She doesn't want to go on tour yet because she thinks it's not good for the planet. She also wants to share her culture to other French people, and she denounced also a lot of like sexism and stuff. She's a symbol.
Yeah.
And she used also this this vocab. She's your age.
Yeah.
She's really, really young. And she's a plus-size woman. She is a symbol of really Gen Z. A lot of people like admire her because she, out of nowhere, came on the stage, and now all the eyes on there. She's just a queen.
Wow. Yeah. She's like she's using her platform and like slang in her vocabulary to make statements about issues that are happening, and also asserting her own culture too.
No, definitely.
Yeah. Okay.
I think you should really just listen for a little while what she's doing.
Yeah.
Even though you might don't like it, but it's really interesting. Like, you can see in her song like how all the issues of France, that's here.
Yeah.
On her new album.
That's so cool. What was her name again?
Théodora.
Okay. Interesting. The final question was that what does language mean to you? Like, I don't know, like as a language learner. I don't know. Or using slang. I don't know. Well, do you want me to go first?
Yeah, go
Okay. So I wrote about this kind of in my research, but I feel like language to our societies, it's meaningful because it's the way we can communicate with each other. But I also think that it's not only meaningful for that reason, but it's, we're building relationships. And like you were talking about, like, we use language to try and make the world a better place. Like, like that artist, like she, is using language and slang to like make statements and kind of help build a better world and kind of bring issues to light that have been problems. But yeah, and I think it's important to like recognize when people are using different forms of language to like, make statements on these important issues, because like there's a nuance to that people use language, and I just think it's meaningful all around, because it's the way that we kind of are able to kind of express ourselves. And I don't know. Do you feel like, I feel like slang's a pretty good thing to talk about when it's like when it goes with expression. I don't know.
Well, slang, especially like in our generation, slang is to be part of a thing.
Yeah.
And to be, like, for example, my sister sometimes use some vocabulary I don't know.
Yeah.
Because it's part of her generation.
Right.
But at the same time, like, this vocab that you talk about, we both use it, even though we're from two different generations. I feel like language is so important. It makes you part of something. It makes you part of your country or a group of people. And I decided to learn English, and that probably is the best decision of my life, because like I met a lot of you guys, the American people. I also traveled a lot, and now I'm a part of this group of people who I decided to speak another language to open to another group of people.
Yeah.
So I think language is humbling, and it also
Yes.
helps you. Yeah. Jesus Christ.
It's humbling, yes.
Sorry.
No, it is, yeah.
But I think language is a whole thing. It's a part of a cultural, of a heart, of a country.
Yeah.
Actually.
It's like at the heart of identity. Yeah. No, I agree with you. I think this has been a really awesome conversation, and I'm glad that we've gotten to talk and that you were willing to interview today. So, thank you, and I guess au revoir.
Au revoir.
We're going to take a little break, but we're going to be right back with more from the podcast.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the second part of the Curious Linguist podcast. Again, my name is Clara, and today, for our second guest on the podcast, we are going to have Dr. Patricia Seuchie. She is a professor of French and Modern Languages at Christopher Newport University in Virginia, who studied French language and literature at the University of Yaoundé for her bachelor's, receiving and then going on to get her master's focusing on African literature at the same university in Cameroon, and then she went on to earn her doctorate at Penn State in French and Francophone Studies. We're going to continue the discussion of the utilization of African slang in French music as a source of liberation and just our general thoughts on cultural relevance and influence of the usage of slang within French and just in slang in other languages as well. Bonjour, Dr. Seuchie.
Bonjour Clara, comment ça va?
Oui, ça va bien, et vous?
Je vais bien, merci.
Thank you, merci. Of course, we have to start with a little French because that's how we know each other. I'm glad to hear that you're doing well, and it's a pleasure to have you on the podcast. I really appreciate you making time to come on.
Oh, you're very welcome. My pleasure.
As my advisor on this research project that I've been working on, you've been a tremendous help with your expertise, and I've really appreciated it. Today, I kind of wanted to talk a little bit about how do you think the French colonial legacy continues to affect West Africa and how it has come to ignite forms of resistance in the songs like we studied Si tu vois ma go, If you see my girlfriend, and Premier Gaou, First Fool?
French colonialism is a long history that France and its former colonies have in common. And the French language is one of the tools that was used by the colonizer to bring in the French culture.
Right.
And that was the thing. So Francophone African people had to use that language, and it was used as the primary language. So it kind of
it's continued its impact, like it, because I know in several of our conversations you talked about how like kind of import and export, like a lot of it still relies on France, right?
Okay, so what I wanted to say is that the French language was a really big part of the French colonization.
Right.
And the language includes so many things at the same time. So it's not just making sentences using the verbs, the conjugation, but it also carries a lot of the culture and the civilization that is being conveyed through the language.
Right.
So I know as of today, the former colonies are no longer under the official domination of France, but those links are still very tight between France and the countries that used to be part of the French Empire, and the language has remained as of today, and those languages are official languages in those African countries. So it continues. That's a language that is used at school, in the offices, at the hospital, everywhere. But it's before the French language and the French culture came into those countries, they used to have their own culture, their own civilizations, and their own languages. So it's really difficult to suppress those languages and completely eliminate them and completely erase them. So they are still there, and there is a sort of kind of conflict between those two languages in everyone's personal identity.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I agree with you. I think in a lot of my research I found that the French language today, presently in West Africa, it's like you said, it's used like in many kind of professional contexts, like governmental contexts, that like hospitals. It's very like in all the official aspects, education. It's very present and kind of ubiquitous everywhere.
I mean, it's the official language.
Right.
It's the official language. I know in some countries they have many other languages. In Cameroon alone, there are more than 250 languages. But those are not used in the official setting in the official area. So you have to use French. And also between those other, all those countries, they use French.
Right.
Though some of them have the local languages in common, like between Côte d'Ivoire and Benin, they or Mali and Senegal, Niger, they do have the local languages in common.
Right.
But in an official setting, that's not what they use. They use French. So that's how the colonial impact is still present.
Right.
But like I said earlier, those other languages, those local languages, they are still part of people's identity and people's culture. So you can really see that kind of conflict, that those other languages kind of come back in surface and conflict with French. Not necessarily a bad conflict,
Right.
but they are there together.
Right.
So trying to be part of one person's identity.
Right. And it's necessary to be able to express not only the French side of identity that's become a part of the culture, but, you know, like, obviously it came from imposition and colonialism, which is extremely negative, but because it's become extremely a part of the culture, there's that tricky balance of it being utilized and needed to be utilized because it's in, so it has so many hands in so many different governmental and like official spaces, but also there's the need to keep tradition and assert identity from those cultures and their native languages that their families have spoken for generations.
Right.
And
Right.
no. Do you think, I was thinking about, do you think that with like keeping that balance between the two and obviously some of the feelings, you know, towards it being imposed and it still being so kind of like ever present in, you know, West African culture, do you think that slang, I've talked about this in my research a lot, but and we've talked about this a bit, but slang, do you think it's been not only just a source to assert identity just with generations, but also as like a form of resistance?
Definitely, yes. You know, the culture is dynamic. Culture is not static.
Right.
So, yes, that French culture or that French language was imposed on Francophone African people through colonization, but they have come to a point where they have accepted and it's part of their culture. But behind the language, there is also this colonial relationship that is still present and that it continues because colonization, there's this neocolonialism that kind of carries the principles of colonialism and, you know, all the negativity associated with colonialism. And today, nowadays, with the new generation, they are not very happy or carrying all those principles. So, yes, there's a sort of resistance that is being, and not that the resistance is new.
Right.
We've seen resistance throughout the history of colonialism in Africa, how some politicians have resisted this this movement, and so, but today it is taking many different other forms,
Right.
including the language. And so yes, there's kind of a new way of using the French. Not that young people don't want to speak French,
Right.
but they have taken it and are using it in a way that fits better the way they want to express themselves.
Right.
And yes, it has created this slang kind of language.
The lagu.
Yeah. So they really feel like it's a way that can really convey what they think they are.
Yes.
how they represent themselves.
Right.
Yeah.
That reflects their cultural identity and kind of expression of how they want to speak French that connects to their country and their family. And
yeah, and including more of the aspect of the environment they live in. Because, definitely, yes, a language has to express or is rooted in the environment. So you see other things that are part of your everyday life, part of your environment, and you name them. There's certain things, I have some anecdotes of things that my parents used in the French language that they never saw before, right? They had to talk about snow, la neige, la paume, and those things were not part of the environment.
Right.
Yes, they recited poems with including words like the snow, la neige, but they had no physical idea of what la neige could be. They never saw that.
Because they hadn't experienced it,
It's not part of the environment. They lived in Yaoundé or in Cameroon. There's no way they could be la neige in that part of the world.
And speaking of neige, speaking of snow, we just had some, which was a really lovely thing. It's interesting, when my friend Anaëlle, who was on the podcast earlier, she talked a lot about the Olympic Games and how they were going to have David Guetta, the DJ, as an artist to perform at the Games, and they ended up having, I think what she said, Aya Nikamara, who wrote one of the songs that I was going to research. And she said that it was a big controversy that they were going to have her on, because like we discussed, she's from Mali, but she grew up, I think, a bit in Mali and then moved over to Paris in France. But it was controversial because, kind of like you were saying, the integration of French, but also West African slang from these different languages. She does that, and not just in her music, but in her normal speech. And in addition to that, she uses like Spanish and other languages. And so people are, I think a lot of people, she was saying, from like the far right party in France, just don't want that change and kind of like evolution of language.
To maintain the purity of French.
The purity of French, yes. Which kind of brings me to my next question. A lot of young people that I've met in France, when we discuss like the language and structure and grammar, as a language learner, I discuss that a lot. We end up talking about l'Académie Française and kind of their mission back to like, I think 1635 of keeping the language of French pure. Do you have any thoughts about, their mission and how it's continued on, things that you as a French speaker might wish that they would change, or just thoughts about their lack of integration of slang? I don't know if you had something to say about that.
First off, I say having rules is not a bad thing.
Right.
Because we have to be organized and structured, so that's fine. But as a language institution, I think, like I said earlier, culture is dynamic.
Right.
And the Académie Française has to consider that aspect of humanity, that the culture moves, the culture changes.
Right.
And the new words that come into usage, that are used, should be considered and integrated in the French language. And just because French is not just associated with the hexagon, with France, okay? French is something that the Francophone world has in common, and the Francophone world goes way beyond the boundaries of France. So all those words that come with this new generation, that come in, are used with this new generation, I think they should be considered and integrated in the French language, like the French dictionary.
Right. I think they just added, in my research I found they just added ouais, or the equivalent to yeah in English, I think in the last 10 years. Like it's very recent, and that has been used for decades.
Yeah. And most of the words that you've encountered in the songs that they are not yet, they haven't made their way to the French dictionary.
Right.
When would that happen? We don't know.
Yeah.
If they will ever happen. So I'm just in favor of them considering or being more integrating other words that are part of the other parts of the Francophone world.
No, go ahead.
That would be fair, especially because French is more spoken outside of France.
It's true.
Than it is in France. So the Francophone world, the other countries,
right,
beside France, made a bigger part of the Francophone world. So I think they should be.
The inclusion should reflect the culture.
Definitely.
Yes.
Definitely.
Yeah. And I think it's interesting because I read that Le Robert, the dictionary, I don't remember when it was, but they added Magot into their dictionary, and I think they're kind of taking a stride of this, like what we're talking about, that culture's dynamic, and there should be kind of inclusion of, these countries that are primarily the bulk of French speakers in the world. But yes, I think maybe l'Académie Française needs to take a page out of the book of the other dictionaries like Le Robert that are kind of integrating this slang. It's interesting. There's a movie called The Battle of what is it called? It's on the basis of sex, and it's a movie about Ruth Bader Ginsburg. But in the movie, she talks about that the country is changing whether the law is allowing the country to change.
Or not.
And so I think it's just a matter of, it's gonna happen anyway. Kind of get on board with, like you were saying, the inclusion.
Inclusion.
Yeah. No, I agree.
But that's gonna be a big challenge because the very role of the Académie Française was to keep the purity of French. So that's a big challenge there.
Yes. No, I agree, and I think it's definitely an interesting and kind of there's definitely a balance of, like, it's important to keep grammatical structures and things like that, but I definitely think with nouns and like things like magot and other words like gaou and things like that, it hopefully
they should reflect the diversity of the Francophone world.
Yes.
Yeah.
And hopefully my Anaëlle, in the last section of the podcast, she was talking about that a lot of her friends and her, she feels like they're kind of a generation that's really celebrating the integration of the slang, and she hopes that will kind of continue into a new kind of era of of slang in the French language. You were going to say something?
I just wanted to say that young people today, most young people, they identify themselves as world citizens.
Yes.
So really including many things that are from many other parts of the world, including in the language, in the fashion, in many aspects of the identity. So that's something that is very generational and that we should take in consideration.
Yes. No, I everything that you're saying it's things that I've heard from the friends that I've been able to meet in France and make, and yes, they definitely consider themselves world citizens, and I think that they've kind of taken that and kind of put it on me a little bit as well, and I've started to kind of feel that as well. Well, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. It was a pleasure to have you. And I guess I can say Joyeux Noël because it's the holiday season.
Oh, yeah, my pleasure. It was really a pleasure to be here and to answer your questions. It was a great time. And yes, it's the season. Happy holidays.
Thanks for listening to The Curious Linguist. If you have any questions or want to fact check anything, we're going to leave our email down in the description below. Catch you again next time. Thanks, guys.